Welcome to Divorce Talk, where we talk all things divorce. Today, back by popular demand, we have Ken Truffen, who is here to share his divorce story, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I do say good because there is life after divorce, and we, Ken and I, are happy post-divorce on the other side. We're going to talk to you about lawyers, finance, therapists, child custody, and how to thrive post-divorce. So welcome, Ken.
Thank you very much. Glad to be back.
Do you know that you're the most popular guest we have ever had on our show?
I didn't know. Actually, I heard just before. I think it's more the topic than the guest.
I don't think
but
so.
We'll see. We'll see after this.
I totally disagree. Your video on online dating online dating after 50 has over 850 views, and it keeps climbing every single day. So that's impressive. So you're a rock star guest that keeps on giving. You keep on giving us views, which is exactly what we want. But today we're here to talk about a serious topic, divorce. So first of all, how long have you been divorced?
I have been divorced since 2014.
Okay.
So 11 years.
Wow.
After an 11-year marriage. So married 11 years, 4 kids, and I have now been single for 11 years.
So you have 4 kids.
I do.
That's a lot of kids, Ken.
I do. I know it is a lot. And when we got separated, I had to do the math in my head earlier. My kids would have been 4, 8, 10, and 14.
Young.
So young-ish, especially my 4-year-old.
Well, yeah, the 14-year-old wasn't, but and I understand you've adopted. So one of your children was your ex-wife's daughter.
So I met Amanda, my ex-wife, and Kendra was, I think, 6 months old.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I adopted her when she was a baby, and she's my daughter.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's amazing.
So, and then we had 3 more after that.
You've obviously been her father, you know, the entire time.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
There's no questioning that.
No.
So what happened? Like, what caused the divorce? Was it shocking? Were you both aligned? What happened?
Number 1, it wasn't shocking. Number 2, we were very aligned, which is why I think as far as separation and divorces go, I would consider mine very amicable, probably because we both knew it was time for us to move on. It was, so to answer your question about being shocking, no, it was a mutual decision. I remember in 2014, we had been having struggles. Nothing like, not fights and that kind of thing, just a lot of bickering. I knew she was unhappy. She knew I was unhappy. So she came down to my office one afternoon after work, and we started talking, and we decided at that point that let's separate. And it wasn't a rash decision by any means. We had discussed it in the past. So
that's exactly, I was watching this thing by Dr. Phil the other day, and he was saying the best way to divorce is when you're ready to divorce. And by being ready for divorce, you've kind of exhausted all potential ways to save the marriage, and you're not emotional about it. You're not angry about it. That part is out of the equation.
That's a good point. I wasn't angry, and I didn't see any anger from her. I mean, it was sad, right? It was sad.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when we told the kids, I was petrified, right?
Yes.
And
telling the kids is that was
what I dreaded.
ordeal.
That's what I think my ex dreaded as well. It's like, how do we tell them we are no longer going to be married? And it's amazing how things happen the complete opposite of how you think they're going to. We called them downstairs into our family room. We sat them on the couch. And of course, they thought we were going to Disney World, because that's normally how we would surprise them with a trip. So we had to say, no, we're not. This is not a Disney World or a family vacation. And then we just told them. And their reaction shocked me. It was like, okay. Like, it shocked me. I thought there'd be tears. I thought there would be.
Well, the 5-year-old didn't understand.
Well, 4. That broke my heart. And that's probably what made me the saddest, because Tanner was 4. And I thought to myself, he won't even remember what it'll be like to have a mom and a dad. That really killed me. But, you know, I'm not foolish enough to think there's not maybe long-term consequences that I have to keep an eye out for. But my kids, I would say, took it incredibly well. And I think it was because we were calm and, we said we'd still care for each other. Nothing's really changing except for the house that you live in.
Right.
And we told them we're going to get a couple, they're going to have 2 homes. And yeah, they took it well.
I think I've done a lot of reading about this and with my own experiences about divorce. And if there's one thing that I've learned, it's not divorce that rocks the kids as much as the relationship between the 2 parents. And if that's riddled with conflict, that's when the kids are really affected. If the 2 adults agree to the divorce, if there isn't something that's been done by one side to the other, which we know happens a lot, whether it's an affair or things like that, and they're just amicable. And yes, you're going to live in 2 different homes, but you're still going to have mommy and daddy, and we both love you, and that's all great. I think your kids have a great chance of just not even recovering, just kind of living a normal life. And I think you took it one step further because you continue to go on, we were just talking about this before we started taping, you go on family vacations with your ex.
Well, yeah. We were apart for years. And I'll never forget, I was watching my older son, Keenan, play football. And one of the moms came over and Amanda, my ex, was next to me and she started talking and we've known her for years. And she's like, so she was asking us about our plans. So I finally was like, Karen, we're separated. And she had no idea. And I felt that was a good thing because, we're not 100%. Affectionate, but we sit together at football games. We don't fight. We never really fought that much. Again, we bickered about the normal stuff, right? Money or savings or that kind of thing. But there is no hatred towards us. And that's the truth. I mean, she is honestly the best mom. And I couldn't ask for anything more.
And that's beautiful. Yeah. Because if you have that kind of respect for one another post-divorce.
I didn't say she respects me, Michelle, but no, she does. She totally
It's totally one way.
No, she...
So I guess your kids, given that this was amicable and, it was both your decisions, they adjusted very well. So you didn't have therapy for your kids, or did you?
We did not go to therapy with them for this. Maybe we should have. I never even thought about that. But they... I didn't see struggling. You know what I mean? I do think.
But did you guys have couple therapy?
We tried it. I think we went to one. And I think
one session?
One session, I know it's not enough.
But no. I don't think so.
I think both of us realized after that session, I think that helped us actually realize, this isn't going to work.
Yeah, and I mean, every situation
and I don't want to speak for her, but I think I can.
Well, I think every situation is different. And I think, the biggest thing that you've mentioned is the 2 of you were aligned. So it's not as though there's one person who wasn't ready. There's one person who was angry about it. So I think that's great.
To answer your question, because you asked me about the trips, we even go, there are certain trips, where she'll come along. The kids, trust me, without having her on these trips, they would be devastated. And of course it's going to end soon. That can't continue forever.
How old is your oldest now?
Right now, they are 16, 20, 22, and 26.
Oh, okay.
That's their ages today.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because they were young, and now that was, did you say 12 years ago?
11 years ago.
11 years ago.
2014.
Yeah. So you and I divorced around the same time. Yeah, mine was 12 or 13. Mine was my second divorce. But anyway, who's counting?
I'm not.
First, second,
I'm not counting.
Whatever. So I guess the divorce didn't necessarily level you, or did it? Because it's still the ending of something.
It didn't. I felt it was a beginning. I really felt like it was a beginning for both of us.
Yeah.
I truly want my ex to find someone and get married, because I was 42. That's still relatively young at the time. Yeah. So no, it didn't level either of us, I don't think. I think we were both kind of relieved that we had made this decision. Once we agreed we're going to separate, we took action immediately. We put the house up for sale. We got my ex into a new place. I actually lived up in an RV up on a lake for the summer because it took me a little longer to find a place.
Yeah.
I would say we were both very happy once it was done. And
so if you were living in an RV until you found a place, your kids obviously weren't living with you.
We got my ex a pretty nice house.
Yeah.
They would live there. And it wasn't that I wanted to live in my RV, but we had an RV up on Bellwood Lake at a campground. I just couldn't find a place as quickly as she did. I think I was there 3-4 months and then came back to Burlington. That's where I'm from.
And so, I mean, you'd go to the home and see
all the time.
Your kids. So that was easy, breezy.
Very
and
easy.
that's not...
Oh, we'll talk about that too. Yeah. When it comes to custody, we had zero problems
and
with
that's very different than most situations because, well, I mean, who am I to talk about most situations, but that's a very contentious issue, or it can be. And a lot of times that's because, both parents want to be equally involved, but it also becomes a lot of times about money because someone wants to be paid spousal or child support, and then they'll want to push for, things can... I've heard the stories. Things can get ugly.
It didn't get ugly.
So what was your custody?
We went to a mediator.
Okay.
Which I thought was great. It was pretty expensive. Like basically we go to a mediator and we just together and then we talk for like 2 or 3 hours. And then we met the mediator separately, which is where I think we didn't need to, we didn't disagree on anything. There wasn't one thing. Like I knew what was going to happen. It's not that difficult at that time, I was working full time. We have 4 children. Amanda at the time didn't work. I knew what was, so, we just figured it out through, I think, divorce mate or whatever. This is what I'll pay.
Yes, divorce mate,
No problem. I mean, it wasn't fun. It's the hardest thing. I mean, when you go through a divorce, you're going to get, unless you're very, very wealthy, it's going to be a hit on your lifestyle for a while.
And I think it's not even if you're wealthy or not, no matter how much money you have, you're going to have less post-divorce.
Much less, yes. And you have 2 homes to...
Exactly, yeah.
So... I
get it.
Yeah, I didn't argue. Whatever it takes. So, and then we came back again for the signing of the, what is that called? Separation agreement. So it wasn't a difficult process. It was pretty pricey.
Yeah, it's funny you say pricey. And I know some people who have dealt with mediators, and I always tell, friends and people who ask me if you have an option to go to a mediator to avoid lawyers, 100%.
When I say kind of expensive, I'll just tell you, it was $5,000. It wasn't that bad. I got off easy.
No, that's not bad at all.
But that's fun. That's going in knowing we are going to, we have no argument, we agree on everything.
Right.
And then, but the separation agreement is like 30, 40 pages. It's long. Yes. So that's essentially what I think I paid for, which is worth it.
Yeah.
So it lays out everything. You asked me about custody. I think for the first few years, it was every other weekend and every Wednesday. So once a week, every other weekend. That didn't work out too well. I mean, it wasn't quite enough.
Wasn't enough
now,
for you.
Right. Now I get, because they're older, my little guy comes Thursday, Friday, and then my other 3 come whenever they want, right? There's no schedule for the older kids because they're off in university and college and working. So, that's my situation.
I remember when I divorced the first time my kids were young, they were 5 and 2. So I had the 2 days, 2 days, 3 days custody. Yeah. And it was, in retrospect, I wouldn't recommend that because 2 days, 2 days, 3 days means that it's every other weekend, that's fine. But the 2 days, 2 days, 3 days, it means that every week it's different days. So if your kids have soccer and dance, and it's always a different person taking them. Yeah. So it's not as consistent as, let's say, a week on, a week off, or specific days, which I think is way better because it should really be all about the kids and consistency.
I agree.
So in retrospect, I would never do the 2 days, 2 days, 3 days. At the time, you kind of rely on what your lawyers are telling you, and they're suggesting this, and that's what I went through. But if I had to do it, again, I would definitely do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you mentioned finances, which I think is such a huge part of divorce. So even if everything is amicable, and in your particular case it was, you still need to divide finances. And did you go to a financial expert, or
that was a lot of work? No, that was a lot.
So
that was painful.
Yeah. Because
you go to a mediator, they say, here's your homework. That homework is insane.
Doing the financial
Well, because keep in mind, I owned a house before we got married, so I had that to consider. And then you have 10,000 other documents that they want to
Yes.
see. That was not a fun experience.
It's not.
That had to get done.
Mhm.
But to the mediator's credit, they took that and put it into a very neat document. So it was worthwhile. Just a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, and it's frustrating because, like you said, at the end of the day, you have less money, less money to do things.
Yeah.
You've got to pay for 2 different homes, and
It's all, and I'm only saying this because I had to remind myself, it's all for the kids, right? It's all for the kids. And
100%.
that does make you just kind of take a deep breath and be like, yeah, it makes total sense. It can be difficult, but worth it.
And you're especially lucky, I think, that you had 2 parents who had that mindset. And I think that's not always the case.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's a nice person. And I thank God every day.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some not nice people and what happens in a divorce, and it's ugly and it's expensive and it's awful.
And I think not only is it not nice people, I think what happens is people get, they're still emotional, they're still angry. And that anger is the thing that they're focused on versus how it affects the children.
Maybe that's what makes mine different. We weren't angry. Like we truly were talking
amazing.
As calmly as this. Now, it was scary and sad and tears.
Still emotional.
You second guess everything. And is Tanner too young? He's only, but yeah, that's probably what made mine a little easier. That there was no bitterness or anger. It was just time. And
now is it 2 older that are in their 20s or 2?
So 26, my 2 girls, 26 and 22, and then Keenan's actually 20 now. So
do they live on their own now? Any of them? Or?
Yeah, my oldest did. She's back home now for various reasons.
The boomerang generation.
Yeah, a little bit of a boomerang thing going on there. My other daughter just finished. Haley finished St. Clair College, so she's off to Ireland next year for another course.
Nice.
And then Keenan is at University of Western, and then Tanner's high school.
And I think one of the major things when you go through a divorce is your support network. And I'm going to ask you, who were the people in your support network, or who the most helped you get through it, handling that emotion that was sad and scary?
It's a great question. I've got a great support. I've got 2 brothers, twins, 4 years older. They have great wives. They were a good support system.
Yeah.
They would often, and especially in the first few years, I would constantly be having dinner at their place.
Yeah.
Having fun, drinking bourbon, you know what I mean? Like just, they were my support system pretty much. And no, it helped a lot. Because
I remember that too. It felt, even though you knew the marriage wasn't what it was supposed to be, you're a couple and then you're on your own. So it's nice to be, involved, and you had your brother's places to go to. And I would go to Norma's so many times. I swear I almost lived there because you feel very alone. You feel like the 3rd wheel, the 5th wheel, the 7th wheel, whatever it is.
I still do. Yeah.
So do I. But it's so important that you have those friends to help you get through it, whether it's that or a therapist. Did you yourself go to a therapist?
Did I go to a therapist? No.
No.
I should have, I'm sure. I mean, let's face it, we all need a therapist. But
I'm a strong believer.
Did you lose any friends? So
yes,
we had a lot of, I won't say lost friends, but we had a lot of joint friends.
Yes.
My best friends' wives, and that sucked a little bit because you stopped getting called, you stopped getting called to go to certain things, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That was awful.
And you and I, we won't give away the plot here, but you and I were just talking about, before we started taping, that show 4 Seasons, which is about 3 different couples. And then the one couple, they have marital problems. And you see what happens. And that show shows a lot of that stress on the relationship. I never
even thought about that. I just watched that last night.
Yeah.
I finished it this morning. Great show, by the way.
Oh my God, I watched it. I watched too many shows at once too. No spoilers. But the point is that it really did show exactly what happens to that friend group, because even though they want to maintain friendships,
it's hard.
It's very difficult. And
Steve Carr's a lunatic in that, but
yes, totally. Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of people that do. There's a lot of lunacy post-divorce sometimes, but that is really hard. So did I lose friends? I would say mostly acquaintances, but my solid friends are the same.
That's great.
Like Norma.
I didn't lose friends. I just heard less. You hear less from them.
Yeah.
And now it's back to normal. All those guys now we're talking all the time, which is great. But I think I don't blame them. They don't know what to say. They don't know.
Yeah.
It's awkward.
Well, yes. And I think men and women are different in that way and how they react. But it's also like, I think a lot of the friends that, or there were more acquaintances that I lost, especially second divorce, were because they were my ex's friends.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where they kind of remained.
Yeah.
So I think that's just part of it. And that is a really sad part of it. There's a lot of sad parts of divorce, but there are good parts too. And one thing I was going to ask you about is dating again, because you've had a lot of time to date again, and you've had relationships and things like that. But how was it, if you can think back, rewind 11 years ago, how scary was it to start dating again?
No, I went buck wild. It was great. I mean,
okay.
So I remember playing. I played hockey in a men's league.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, I got married, whatever 2014 minus 11 is 2003, and the apps weren't around back then, like the Bumbles, the Tinder. So I'll never forget, I was getting ready for hockey and my brother's on my team and he goes, hey boys, Kenny's single now. Because literally the day after it happened. Yeah. And then one of the guys said, hey, are you on this? Are you on that? I'm like, no. And he kind of showed me the apps.
The ropes.
And yeah, it was craziness for about a couple of years, not tons and tons of dating, just a lot of chatting. I just couldn't, I realized at that point, I can't talk to more than one person at once because you totally get confused. Yeah. So I learned some lessons back then. But yeah, dating has been fun. I had a girlfriend for a couple of years, a long distance relationship. But yeah, dating can be fun. And I've been very lucky. I don't have much or many nightmare stories.
Yeah, I don't have any real nightmare stories. I think what I find is, and I don't know, maybe you're the same, is you get a lot pickier at this stage in your life because
I told you last time it takes me a month to get
I know.
To meet up.
I found that a bit odd, but I guess everyone's different. Waiting, and I guess just to reiterate, so you had said that when you start talking to someone on an app, it's from that start point. It's
I said on average.
On average,
that's
but
not
still,
a rule, but no, that is a long time.
I would just, and everybody's different. Everyone has a different pace, a different plan.
Well, I just met somebody and we met after like a week.
See, that I find is pretty standard.
Didn't go as well as I thought, but it was fine.
Whatever. We all have, but you said very nice person.
Incredible.
And, so that's.
I've met a lot of amazing, I've got quite a few friends that we dated, now we're not, and we're just friends. Yeah. I'm a big fan of it, Michelle. I think you can do it.
You said that last time.
Because if they're good people, if they're idiots, then I don't want anything to do with them. But if they're good people, kind, why wouldn't you be their friend? I don't know, especially if the feelings weren't quite there yet.
I'm not disagreeing at all. I guess my experience, and I could be reading it wrong, is I didn't feel that there was a desire to be a friend on the other side.
Right.
Like they were dating, and if it wasn't going to work out, I got that impression.
Sure.
So maybe I'm looking at that wrong. I don't know. So if you had to say now, how happy are you on a scale of 1 to 10 post-divorce, factoring everything in, like the highs, the lows, what would you say?
I would say 8. I mean, it's been 11 years. I'm still single. Yeah. And that's okay. I just, sometimes I get too comfortable being single. Like it's almost.
Oh, I know that.
Like I have to force myself to not be single, but I would say an 8. I'm happy,
Yeah. Do you like being alone?
I do, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm pretty comfortable. And I've been like this since I was a kid. I'm very comfortable.
But you're not an introvert.
I don't get lonely. I am, but.
Are you?
I think so. I think I'm one of those people that looks like an extrovert, but is an introvert. I don't know. But I do need my take a deep breath. Yeah.
And I guess you get that now that your kids are older, because I know when my kids were still living with me, I didn't feel alone. And I wasn't used to being alone.
Right.
And then, they would leave and go to school and they'd come back and then they just left. So they're both gone. So now I am very comfortable being alone. I don't always love it, but I'm very comfortable. I don't hate it.
Right.
But that is a hard thing to get used to.
It is.
In the beginning. Like we're, over a decade out, but in the beginning, I didn't like it. And I remember when my kids were young, and when it was Christmas, those things, that really sucked.
Yeah.
Those Christmases
We still
where
do
you
Christmases together.
Well,
I know.
yeah,
I
so,
know.
I
I
mean,
know.
you just-
In the morning, I show up.
this is a bit of a unique
An oddity?
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
But an oddity in a good way, I'm saying. If you still do Christmases together and things like that, I think that's great for your kids. The only thing I would say, I think it's great for your kids as long as they didn't expect or anticipate a reunion.
It's a great point, and I don't think they do.
Yeah.
As I said, I've had girlfriends. Amanda has had boyfriends. So I don't think they like it. Quite honestly, I think some of them like it less than
I don't
others.
think any of the kids really like that.
But some of them, yeah. So, yeah, I think it's...
you don't think that they anticipated because I believe most kids...
I don't think so. I mean, let me just be clear.
Yeah.
We're talking Christmas morning with the presents.
Yeah.
But we're not talking dinner and all that. That's separate. So she'll do her own thing. I'll do my own thing.
Okay.
It's just the gifts in the morning. We still...
Yeah. But I think that's fantastic.
Again, I don't stay over. I just come in the morning and we do gifts. But
I think it's very good. I think for all those people out there going through a divorce, the more normalcy you can keep with your kids, especially for those types of things, I think it should be all about the kids. But there are so many, unfortunately, high conflict situations where that kind of thing doesn't work.
Absolutely.
And then the most important thing is ensuring that your kids feel safe.
And listen, if I was in a serious relationship for a couple of years, the vacation thing didn't go over well. But I mean, it was 6 months after.
Yeah.
I made sure I said, look, we travel, and she sometimes comes, different villa, like, it's not like we're in the same hotel room. Like, we're talking.
Okay, but this is a good question. So if you would do the vacations with your ex, did your girlfriend go with you?
We didn't, not this time. She did not. Because this trip was planned 6 months in advance. Okay.
But she might have.
I had said, I'm sure I would have offered that up. I'm sure I would have said, no, and I totally understand, everything's fine. Okay. And then it was 6 months later, that was our first argument. It's just like, by the way, I'm like...
But you bring up a very good point, because sometimes, as much as I know that's great for the kids, it may not be great for
that's what my point was going to be. I know that when my ex gets, in a serious relationship, or when I do, it's over. Yeah. Maybe not Christmas morning, we can still do that. But the trips, it's a bit wacky, and I'm well aware of it. But
your kids are getting to an age where
people don't realize, especially a Disney trip, for example.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier with two parents.
Totally.
Right? Like,
I agree.
It's a little selfish of me too.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm the nicest guy in the world. It's just, if my kids were upset and it's going to make this trip 10 times harder. Yeah. What are we doing?
Exactly.
That's why I look at it.
I think that's great. I think for those divorced people out there who can have your vacations together, I say go for it. I definitely wasn't in that situation.
But I know it's going to end at some point.
Yeah, and your kids they're getting older. But I think it's great advice. I do want to say thank you again for gracing us with your celebrity, because it's always a pleasure. So we're going to see how many likes and how many views we're going to get on this one.
You bang on the likes. I don't know what you do.
So if you're going through a divorce or you're in the thick of it, we hope this episode is helpful, as we're two people who have successfully got to the other side. And if this content resonates with you, please subscribe. It's free to you, and it helps us create more content to help you get through your divorce. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Ken.
See you next time. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.